Hi everyone, welcome back to Yoga with Janie Rose. Today's class is my own personal practice, which is intuitively led. It is an intermediate level practice, so some yoga experience would be recommended. Let's begin in a lay down position, a long morning stretch. Straighten your legs, point your toes, and interlace your fingers, shining your palms overhead. Breathe deep into your belly and chest, inhaling fully, and exhale out the mouth. Setting up for reclined butterfly. Plant your feet as you bend into your knees and let your knees fall wide to the side. Soles of your feet come together. Hands can hold your hips if this feels really intense to start. Otherwise, one hand to heart, one hand to belly, or just keep your arms resting up and overhead. Connect with your breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling out the nose, elongating your inhales to match the same length as your exhales. With every exhale, notice how your face softens, your eyes might close, your shoulders melt down, and your heart softens. The belly moves with breath naturally. The hips relax and the legs fall heavy. Soles of your feet are touching without effort, as gravity does the work here for you. We'll take a little more time here. Slide your hands under your hips and gently plant your feet, guiding your knees to touch. Then heel toe your feet a little wider. This is resetting your hips. Let your knees fall over to the right slowly. Guide them back through center and over to the left. Inhale your knees through center. Exhale your knees into your chest, hands to shins. Gently rock it out side to side. Inhale deeply. Exhale forehead to knees. Inhale, slowly lower your head and plant only the left foot to the ground. Keep the right knee hugging in. Option to wrap your right arm around your right leg. You can circle your right ankle around a few times in each direction. If this feels like enough for your hip, stay where you are. Otherwise, join me in a half happy baby stretch. You can draw your knee down towards your armpit, an option to extend through your right leg a few times. Just go as far as you can comfortably, as this is still quite early in practice. Release your right foot to match left and guide your left knee in towards your chest. Option to wrap your left arm around your leg, circle your left ankle around a few times in each direction, and soften your head and shoulders into the mat. Stay or take your half happy baby stretch. Once again, optional to straighten your leg out a few times with me. Release your left foot down, then guide your knees in towards your chest, hands under thighs. Inhale, rock up through seated, crossing your right leg in front of left, hands to knees. With a long spine, inhale, lift the chin, press the chest forward. Exhale, round through the back. Inhale, seated cow. Exhale, seated cat. Go one more time each way, moving with your breath. Inhale through center, and fold forward over your shins. Go as far as you can comfortably and breathe into your right hip. Option to extend your arms long. Inhale, rise up to a tall back. Switch out your legs, hands to knees, and lead with your heart as you fold over your legs once again. Breathing into your left hip. Option to extend your arms. Inhale, rise up and make your way onto all fours, setting up for cat and cow stretch. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, feet are hip distance. With a long spine, inhale, lift the chin, drop the belly. Exhale, press into the hands to a cat stretch. Inhale like a wave, chest opens, belly drops, sits bones lift. Exhale, tuck the tail, round through the back, press into your hands. Let's do that one more time each way. From your cat stretch, tuck your toes, sink your hips towards your heels, then stretch your arms long down your mat with the head to the earth. Breathe into child's pose with a foot stretch. Option to stay in this pose or take your foot stretch a little deeper by walking your knees and feet to touch. Sit back on your heels and make sure all 10 toes are flat to the earth. Relax your arms on your lap. You can join me in rolling your head in half circles from side to side, releasing your neck. Guide your head through center and untuck your toes, sitting back on the heels for an opposite top of the ankle stretch. You might guide your hands behind your back and lift your knees for a couple of breaths. Slowly lower the knees and make your way onto all fours. Tap out your feet. From here, we point our fingertips to the outer edges of the mat and shift the weight from side to side, gently opening the wrists. Stay with this stretch or point your fingers in towards your knees, thumbs to the outer edges. You can round through your back to a cat stretch to deepen this, or tuck your toes and sink your hips towards your heels. Either way, we'll spend a few breaths in this pose. Inhale through center, straight spine, turning your hands back to normal. Counter stretch, one hand at a time. Hold your left thumb with your fingers. Then plant the back of your left hand down on the ground under your head. You can use your right hand to hold your fingers in place and straighten your elbows to the best of your ability. Breathing into this left side outer wrist stretch. Release your right hand down and let go of your left thumb. Other side. Hold your right thumb with your fingers and plant the back of your right hand down under your head. Option to hold your fingers in place using your left hand and straighten your elbows to the best of your ability. Release your right hand, coming through tabletop and downward facing dog. Let's take some movement, walking the dog, bending one knee deeply at a time. It's always nice to spend a little extra time in the first downward facing dog of the practice. As you press into your hands, consider the length up towards your sits bones And from your sits bones towards your heels, pressing towards the earth. Let's take a few more breaths here. On your next inhale, roll through a plank pose. Exhale, press back to down dog. Again, inhale through plank. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale through plank pose, and this time, exhale lowers all the way down to the ground. Separate your feet hip distance. Send your fingertips to the earth by your sides as wide as your mat. On an inhale, roll up to a cobra pose. Exhale, head down. Inhale again, lift up a little higher perhaps, and exhale, forehead to the ground. One more. Inhale, lift your chin. Exhale, tuck your chin. Plant your hands. Press back to an old-fashioned child's pose. Breathe deep into your back body. Inhale, rise up and sweep your feet off to the side, coming to seated. Keep the left leg straight and bend into your right knee, right foot into left thigh. Inhale, reach your arms high, and with a long spine, fold over the left leg. Reach towards your foot. Inhale, rise up one vertebrae at a time, and switch out the legs. Straighten through the right, bend into the left. Square yourself over your right thigh as you reach up to a long spine and hinge from the hips forward. Breathe deep into your back body. On your next inhale, rise up slowly. Cross your legs in, plant your hands, and come back through downward facing dog. Spend a breath in down dog. Then walk your feet about halfway up the mat to a shorter stance, downward facing dog. Inhale through a little half lift and exhale, fold. Relax the neck. It might feel nice to bend one knee deeply at a time. Inhale, plant your hands, stack your shoulders over your wrists, rise to tiptoes, and walk your feet through between your hands, hip distance with the feet. Half lift, inhale, fold, exhale. Let's move dynamically 2 more times, inhaling through half lift and folding on exhales. One more. And when you fold, this time reach hands to elbows in ragdoll. Breathe. From here we come through to a twist. Inhale, lengthen your spine as your left hand reaches for your right foot, right hand high, or reach it back for a half bind to your left inner thigh, bending deeply into your left leg. Look upward. Exhale, release through your fold, then switch sides. Right hand reaches for left foot, left hand reaches high, or comes back for a bind. Bend deeply into your right knee. Exhale the top hand down. Inhale through a half lift. Heel toe your feet to touch. Exhale, lunges your right foot down the mat. Pause in your runner's lunge. Then take dynamic movement, shifting the weight back and forth, opening up through the left hamstring. From a lunge, plant your hands and step back to a plank. Hold your plank. My teacher used to say, Don't hang your head, but take this opportunity to strengthen your neck. On an exhale, lower your knees, arch your back, and release the chest and chin down to Ashtanga Namaskara. Straighten your legs back, lower your hips. Hands by your sides as you inhale through a cobra pose. Exhale, lower down to the ground. Press back to your knees, tuck your toes, downward facing dog pose. Let's take a few breaths. Inhale fully and exhale, roll through plank, lunging the left foot through, runner's lunge. From your runner's lunge, take dynamic movement, shifting the weight back and forth. From your lunge, step your back foot through to the top of your mat. Inhale through a half lift, lengthen. Exhale, lunge your left foot down the mat. Skandasana. Point your right toes to the left corner and sink your hips towards your right heel. Flex through your back foot. Hands can come through heart center or open your arms wide, gazing upward. Option to join me in reaching your arms straight forward in front of you. This helps open the hips just a little more. Press up, pivot on the feet, and step back to a plank. Hold your plank, reaching the crown of the head forward and drawing the belly button back. Exhale, lower your knees, arch your back like cat, jut the body forward, and lower the chest and chin down. Option, though, to tuck your chin and take the forehead down. Just make sure you can breathe through your nose. Slide your feet back, lowering your hips. Plant your hands by your chest. Inhale, press up to a cobra pose, and let's hold this one just for a couple of breaths. Exhale, lower all the way down. Press back, tucking your toes through downward facing dog pose. Maybe you want to take some movement with me, bending one knee at a time. On your next exhale, lunge the left foot through between your hands. Walking your hands to the inside of the left foot, lower down into Skandasana. Again, option for hands to heart or open the arms wide. Optional to join me, releasing the arms straight forward, breathing deeper into the hips. Plant your hands on either side of your front foot as you pivot on the feet and step through to the top of the mat through a half lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold over legs. Inhale, rise, reach up, hands to touch. As you look up, exhale, hands by your sides. Again, inhale, reach up, but take a little back bend this time. Exhale, forward fold. Relax your head. Inhale through a half lift. Exhale, steps back through plank and lowers to chaturanga. Inhale through upward facing dog, tops of the feet. Exhale, downward facing dog, and breathe. Inhale through toes, bend deep into your knees. Walk, lunge, or hop to the top. Half lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. Inhale, rise. Take a gentle back bend. Exhale through standing. Inhale, reach up, back bend. Exhale, bow all the way down. Plant the hands, hang the head. Inhale through a half lift. Exhale, float or step back through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale through upward facing dog, press into your hands. Exhale, downward facing dog. And let's take a few long, deep breaths. Inhale through toes, bend deep into your knees, walk, lunge, or hop to the top. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reach up, back bend. And exhale through standing Samastitihi. Utkatasana, chair pose. Bend deep into your knees and sweep your arms up by your ears. Draw your shoulders down your back and draw the belly button back. Option to gaze up at your hands touching. However, try not to strain the neck. Exhale, fold over straight legs. Inhale through a half lift. Exhale, float or step back through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale through upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Warrior 1. Step your right foot through between your hands. Inhale, rise up. Let's hold for 5 long, deep breaths. Again, you might choose to guide your hands to touch and gaze up towards your thumbs, but be mindful of your neck. Exhale, circle your hands down to the earth. Step back to plank and lower into Chaturanga. Inhale through upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Warrior 1, other side. Left foot lunges through, back heel pivots down, arms reach to the sky. Draw your right rib cage forward and breathe deep into your hips. If it's difficult to keep the back heel rooted to the earth here, you can always lift it and come into more of a crescent lunge shape instead. Either way, you're getting a nice stretch through your right hip flexor. Exhale, sweep your hands down to the ground, step back through plank, and lower through Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, and let's spend a few long, deep breaths here. In downward facing dog, I like to consider this an opportunity to lengthen my spine. On your next inhale, rise through your tiptoes. Bend into your knees. Grip into your fingertips if you're jumping through to the top of your mat. Through a half lift, fold, exhale. Bend your knees through chair pose, sweep the arms high, and let's hold this one. Guide your hands behind your back and reach hands for elbows. Roll your shoulder blades in towards each other and lift your heart. Breathe deep into your chest. Exhale, release your hands and fold over straight legs. Inhale through half lift. Exhale, float or step back through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high through three-legged dog. Bend into your right knee. Open the hip wide to the side. Level your hips, draw your right knee to touch your nose, then step it through between your hands, rising to Warrior 2. Arms wide to the side. Gaze over your front hand. Inhale, press your front leg straight through a peaceful triangle. Back hand to thigh, right arm extends by your right ear. Breathe into your side body stretch. Exhale through triangle pose, arms wide, heel toe your back foot in, and release your right hand down, either using your leg as a prop or hand to the ground. Look up to your left thumb. Half circle your top arm back, down, and overhead, lengthening through your left side body. Exhale the top hand down for pyramid pose. Step your back foot up and in slightly. Hands to waist and rise to stand. Hands behind your back, either for hands to elbows or reverse prayer between the shoulder blades. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, bow forward, leading with your heart over your right thigh. Inhale through half lift with hands under shoulders. Coming through three-legged dog with your right leg high to the sky. Option to flow through chaturanga, right leg high, or chin stand. From chin stand, lower to chaturanga, inhaling upward facing dog, exhaling downward facing dog. Inhale left leg high to three-legged dog. Bend through the left knee and open the hip wide. Exhale, square your hips and draw your knee to your nose. Stepping the left foot through, pivot the back heel down. Inhale, warrior two. Inhale through peaceful triangle. Press the front leg straight and take it back for a side body stretch on the left. Exhale through center, arms wide to the side. Heel toe the back foot in and take your left hand down to triangle pose. Gaze up to your right thumb. Half circle your top arm back, down, and around overhead, lengthening through your right side body as you press firm into your back foot. Coming through pyramid pose, plant your hands on either side of your front foot, step the back foot up and in just a little bit. Lengthen your spine with hands to waist and rise to stand. Hands behind your back, either in reverse prayer, hands to elbows, or hands to wrists. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, fold over your left thigh. Inhale through half lift. Release your hands under your shoulders and step back to three-legged dog with the left leg high to the sky. Option to flow through chaturanga with the left toes reaching high, or chin stand with me. Lower down from chin stand. Inhale through upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, and breathe. Coming through side extended by inhaling the right leg high, bend through the right knee and open the hip wide. Square your hips, step your right foot through, pivot your back heel down. Option for right hand outside of right foot or forearm to thigh. Either way, the left arm reaches up and overhead, and if it feels okay for your neck, look upward. Inhale as you gracefully press up strong through peaceful triangle. Exhale, take your hands down on either side of your front foot. Step your back foot up and in, setting up for revolved triangle. Lengthen your spine and plant the left hand inside or outside of your right foot. reaching your right hand high, drawing your right hip back. Exhale the top hand down with hands under shoulders, set up in a standing splits with your left leg straight up and back. Keep your right hand under your right shoulder in line with the pinky toe edge of your bottom foot. Lift the left hand high through a half moon. Option to take the top leg as high as you'd like, using your left hip strength in order to do that. Exhale the top hand down through standing splits. Step your left foot back and sweep your right leg high, coming to a three-legged dog. Option to flow through chaturanga with your right foot high, or chin stand if you prefer. Inhaling through upward facing dog, exhaling through downward facing dog. Inhale left leg high, bend through left knee, open the hip wide. Exhale, draw the knee in towards your nose, and with control, step the left foot through. Pivot the back heel down through side extended. Take your variation and breathe deep into this nice lengthening from back foot pressing into the earth to top hand reaching towards the wall in front of you. With control, press up to peaceful triangle just for a breath. Exhale, bend back into your front knee, plant your hands, and step the back foot in for revolved triangle. Inhale to a long spine, and exhale, twist with the right hand inside or outside of your left foot. Left hand high, look up. Exhale the top hand down through standing splits. Right leg straight up and back. Keep the left hand under the left shoulder and reach your right hand high. Once again, you have the option to lift your top leg as high as you can using your right hip strength and glutes. Breathe. This time we exit differently. Release your top hand down and your right foot to match left at the top of your mat. Inhale through a half lift and exhale, fold. Gently bend your knees and reach your hands under your heels. Lengthen just a little bit on an inhale, and exhale, hug yourself in as much as you can. Release to a half lift inhale and heel toe your feet hip distance. Bend deep into your knees to a wider stance chair pose, reaching your arms to the sky. Eagle pose. Shift the weight over to your left foot and cross your right leg over left. Then, cross your left arm over right. Stand tall with a long spine, sinking a little deeper into your seat. Think about squeezing everything into the center line as you draw your elbows towards your knees. Breathe deep, drawing your belly button back. Inhale to rise up with control, and exhale, release the pose. Come through standing with feet hip distance. Inhale, arms to the sky and rise to the tiptoes, lengthening your entire body long. Exhale, release your arms, bend deep into your knees, chair pose. Shift the weight over to the right foot, cross left leg over right. This time, right arm over left in eagle arms. Start by sitting tall. Squeeze into your center line as you draw your elbows to your knees. Inhale to rise up and pause for a breath. On an exhale, release the pose. Plant your feet hip distance. High mountain. Inhale the arms high and rise to the mounds of your toes, lengthening your body long. Exhale, lower the heels and arms by your sides. Heel toe your feet to touch. Inhale, reach up and back bend. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale through half lift. Exhale, step your right foot back with your left leg high to a three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale through chaturanga or chin stand. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, bend through your right knee and step your right foot outside of the right hand. Point your right toes out slightly as you lower your back knee, setting up for a lizard stretch. Hands under shoulders. Open your chest forward. Option to stay elevated or lower down to forearms, maybe stacking hands under the forehead. Breathe deep into your right hip. Option to roll onto the outside edge of the right foot, letting the knee fall open a little wider. Inhale, press up to your hands. Setting up for the other side by either stepping back through plank and sending your left foot outside of your left hand, or doing the hop switch with me. When you're ready, switch out the feet. Then lower your back knee. Untuck your back toes. Pointing the left toes out slightly, stay up on hands or lower to forearms. Option at any time to roll to the outside edge of the left foot, opening the left leg a little wider. Breathe deep into your left side hip. On your next inhale, slowly press up, tucking your back toes and stepping your right foot outside of your right hand. Lower the hips down to a yogi squat, malasana. Hands might come through heart center, in which case you can use your elbows to help open the legs a little wider. You might sway side to side gently with me. Inhale as you plant your hands and straighten your legs. Lengthen your spine to a half lift. Then exhale to heel toe your feet to touch. Guide hands to your waist. Inhale, rise to stand. Widespread foot pose. Step your left foot down your mat. Keep your feet parallel with each other. And inhale the arms to the sky. Exhale, hinge from the hips as you bow down, plant your hands. Inhale, lengthen. Then exhale, fold as deep as you can. Inhale through a half lift, hands under shoulders. Exhale, walk yourself to the back of your mat, framing your left foot. Lower your back knee. Left fingertips reach towards the earth or keep the left hand on your thigh as your right arm reaches by your right ear for a gentle back bend. Draw the belly button back. Exhale your hands on either side of your front foot and shift back to half splits. Lengthen your spine and fold over your left thigh. Reaching your arms forward if that feels good encourages a long spine. Inhale, roll forward and bend back into your front knee. Tuck your back toes and pivot the back heel down. Humble warrior. Reach your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Roll your chest open and bow into your thigh, perhaps the inside of the thigh. Relax the neck and reach the arms overhead. Inhale, rise up halfway. Release your left hand to the inside of the left foot, right hand high. From here, reach your right hand back for a half bind, perhaps to your left inner thigh. Stay like this or reach your left arm underneath and take the hands together behind your back. Option to straighten through your left leg, a little or a lot. Breathe. Gently release the bind. Take the hands down to the inside of your left foot. Press back to widespread foot pose. Inhale to a long spine. Exhale, fold as deep as you can, perhaps a little deeper this time. Inhale, walk your hands under shoulders and press to a half lift. Exhale, walk yourself to the top of your mat. Lower your back knee. Inhale, rise with either right hand to the earth or thigh, left arm by left ear, and exhale through a gentle back bend. Draw the belly button back. Slowly release hands down on either side of your front foot, shifting back to half splits. Lengthen your spine and exhale, fold over your right thigh. Breathe deep into your right side hamstring. Inhale as you roll forward and plant your right foot. Tuck your back toes and pivot the back heel down. Release your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. Inhale opens the heart. Exhale folds into your right thigh. Relax the neck and reach the arms overhead. Side extended. Inhale through half lift. Plant the right hand inside of the right foot, left hand high. Take the left hand behind for a bind, reaching for your right inner thigh. Open the chest. Stay like this, or reach your right arm under. Take hands together behind the back. Roll the chest open. Option to straighten your leg through an extended, bound triangle pose. On an exhale, bend back through your front knee, release the bind, plant the hands, and step back to plank. Lower to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, rise to tiptoes. Bend into your knees. Walk or hop your feet behind your hands, shoulder distance. Lengthen your spine. Then plant your left hand under your head with your right hand high. Setting up for bird of paradise pose. Take your right hand back for your left inner thigh. Bend deep into your knees and reach your left arm under your left leg. See if you can take your hands together. Shift the weight over to your right foot and rise to your left big toe. Slowly rise to stand. Option to extend through the top leg. And focus your eyes on a spot, we call this our drishti point, to help you stay balanced. Hinge from your hips and lower down halfway. Extend through the standing leg. Then gracefully release the pose. Lowering down slowly. Release the bind with hands to elbows in ragdoll. Rock it out side to side. Inhale through a half lift. Exhale, plant your right hand under your head and take your left hand high. Stay in the twist and reach back for a half bind for your right inner thigh. Bend deeply into both knees, then reach your right arm under your right leg. Take the hands together behind your back. Shift the weight over to your left foot and rise to your right big toe. Then come through standing, bird of paradise pose. Option to extend through the top leg, and once again, keep your eyes focused. This is the peak pose for our practice today. It was the only pose I knew I wanted to do, so everything was leading us to this moment. Hinge from the hips halfway. Extend through the standing leg. And when you're ready at your own time, lower all the way down. Release the bind. Take hands through elbows and rock it out side to side. Plant your hands, inhale through half lift, heel toe your feet together. Step your left foot back and send your right leg high to a three-legged dog. Bend through your right knee and draw it in just before your hands and lower it to the ground. Sweep your left leg forward and around. So as you sit between your heels, your left knee is stacked directly over right for Gomukhasana. Inhale your right arm up and your left arm back. Bend through the elbows and try to interlace the fingers behind your back. Sit tall, tuck the lower rib cage, breathe into your shoulders, and at any time you can fold over your legs if you choose. You also have the option to release the bind with the hands at any time and just allow yourself to sink deeper into the hip stretch. Inhale, press up, then plant your hands and step back to a three-legged dog, this time with your left leg high to the sky. Exhale, bends through the left knee, drives it through just before the hands, then sweep the right leg forward and around. So right knee is stacked over left, sitting between the heels. This time your left arm reaches up and your right arm reaches back. Bend through the elbows and interlace the fingers behind you. Sit tall, tucking the lower rib cage, breathing into your shoulders. Forward fold when you feel ready and release the arms at any time. Breathe into your hips. Preparing now for a reverse tabletop. Press up, uncross the legs, and plant the feet out in front of you, hip distance. Walk your hands back, behind you, shoulder distance, and press your hips up towards the sky. Breathe into this front body stretch. Exhale, lower the hips. Second set. You can do the same or straighten the legs. Press into your hands, send your hips high, and with straight legs, try to get your toes to touch the ground, keeping the core engaged. Exhale lowers the hips, then lay down onto your back. Guide your knees in towards your chest. Taking a twist, letting your knees roll to the left, you can gaze to the right. Option in extending the top leg, which would be the right leg, and reaching your left hand towards your right foot. Inhale through center and exhale your knees over to the right. Option to extend through your left leg this time. And breathe as you look over the left shoulder. Inhale your knees through center and exhale to extend the legs down the mat, pointing the toes, interlacing your fingers overhead to a long morning stretch. Take a nice big inhale through the belly and chest and exhale out the mouth, a cleansing breath. Coming into Savasana, final rest. Separate your feet, let the toes fall open, and if you'd like to join me with one hand to heart, one hand to belly, you can. Start to allow your body to breathe naturally. Shavasana is important in that it helps your muscles to regroup after all the deep work you've just done. It's also wonderful for grounding and stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system. I invite you to stay for the duration of the next 4 to 5 minutes, and I will wake you then. You can begin to deepen your breath. Bring energy back to fingers and toes, and wrists and ankles. Rolling your head from side to side, releasing your neck, before taking one last long morning stretch. Guide your knees in towards your chest, and either roll to one side and press up, or guide hands under thighs and rock up through seated. And let's take a moment to be grateful for something today within our lives. I am grateful to you for joining me in today's practice. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I felt really good after this practice. We'll see you in the next one. Namaste.